we're going to talk about extending Liferay UI, right? So why do we need this at all in first place? So I guess how many of you here have ever had to extend Liferay views? No, no, have ever had to, yeah. So, okay, so pretty much, yeah. So you know what you need this, right? Because Liferay it's not only a portal, but it's a platform to build applications, right? So we use Liferay to build our applications on top of some bundle applications that are ready to use that come with Liferay, right? So these applications, normally it's useful to be able to adapt them or to add more features to this application so they can suit your needs better or the needs of your applications, right? So what are the current mechanisms that we have to extend live reviews? We can use application display templates, which I'm sure you all went to the presentation Eduardo gave about the topic. Or we have the good old hooks, right, that make a JSP replacement. How many of you have ever used this? Okay, pretty much everybody, yeah. So, cool. So I guess that you all can tell me what are the drawbacks, the pros and cons of each of these approaches, right? So application display templates are great, but their purpose is limited to changing some specific UIs and kind of a very coarse-grained way, like you change the whole view of the portlet or the whole listing or whatever you are using application display for. So it's kind of a very coarse-grained solution. On the other hand, JSP hooks allow you to replace some specific views in the portal, right? Which is very powerful. But on the other hand, they don't compose and are very fragile because in the end, we are just replacing a whole JSP. So in the long term, what happens is that when you need to upgrade or you need to do something with the portal, then you need to migrate your hooks as well, right? Which is something you don't like to do. And you can't you can't extend the same view from different plugins, right? Because if you are replacing a GSP, and then with another plugin you try to replace the same GSP, then disaster happens, right? So, well, they're powerful but fragile somehow. On top of that, JSP hooks can't access classes in their plugins. Everybody knew that? Knew this? Yeah. So sometimes it's annoying, right? Because it forces us to make some tricks to be able to introduce new behaviors with our plugins and be able to access those from the JSPs, which is not something that we like either. So what are the goals of these new approaches that we are trying to introduce into Liferay? And I would like to say that this is a still bleeding edge. Some of the features are already mastered, but some of them are still incubating somehow. Okay, so we would like your feedback. The goals are to provide more stability to the extensions, right? So you get upgrade versions and you don't lose your extensions, so you don't need to migrate them so frequently. We also try to provide more fine-grained extensibility, so like you can target like this is very specific point in the view and change that. And we also want to provide a way to be able to install cohesive extensions. Like I want this package to be installed and change several different aspects of different views in an easy way. So I can either install it or uninstall it and everything will just work, right? So how are we going to do this? We are going to talk about 3 different approaches that we are implementing right now. And we are leveraging on OSGI heavily for this, right? So one of the aspects that we are trying to introduce is view models. This is actually in master now. And it consists of building our view like Lego blocks, right? So you actually build a model of a view. So you can pass it to an extension and say, okay, here's the tree that I have. So do something with it. You can add new elements. You can remove elements. And then I will render it. So what is this good for? For instance, actionable views like menus, trees, all that stuff is very suitable for this kind of modeling, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it. We are going to see some examples of this right after the presentations. We can also provide view extension points, right? So we are going to enable the developers of the JSPs of the current views to say that here you can put your own extension, right? So you, as a plugin developer, know that you can put your code or your extension or your view inside these places, with the added feature that these places are going to be able to put more than one extension there. Not only one, but you can aggregate them in the same places. And in the end, the last one of the three are going to be extensible tag points. What we want to do with this is that every tag in a Liferay view could be potentially be extended, right? So this is quite powerful. Okay, we try to provide with this some kind of replacement to the JSP hooks, so you don't have to use them anymore, and that you have the same power that you have with JSP hooks, but they are less fragile because you are targeting a specific point in a view, not the whole JSP. Right? So we are going to see how can we do this. Let's start with the simpler one. Okay, the model one. So let's see some examples. So this, what we are going to see is already mastered, right? Thanks to Ivan, he's sitting here in the front row. So what are we going to do is to extend the document library interface, right? We are going to add a new menu entry in the menu, the action menu of one of the files, right? So all the code is built, so I don't have to do live coding, and everything is deployed already, but I have only disabled the bundles, right? So here I have the list of bundles. I hope you can see it. And this one here is the example that we're going to see today. And it's in resolved state, so it's not active. So Liferay is going to be just, oh, sorry, as it is normal, right? So this is the menu that you are going to see out of the box. So we're going to add a new entry here. So how do we do that? So now we have two elements in this model. It's the DLView file version display context factory. It's a huge name, right? So with this factory, you are going to, we are actually saying that we are going to provide a new display context that's going to wrap the existing display context, right? Display contexts are in charge of building the UI, right? So that's the model actually. So this is the new display context that we are going to build for the menu, and what we are doing here is just wrapping the old display context, and then here we are asking for the regular menu items. So then we are going to add a new URL menu item, and we are going to fill it with the values that we want, and then add it to the list and return it, right? Okay, so I see there's a typo here. Okay, it's not going to work because it's already deployed. So, so now, if I want the extension to work, then I can start it, right? So this is active state now. There. So we can see our new menu item here, right? So if I goes to actually the URL that we provided. So this is as easy as this, right? So we can also remove elements from the menu, right? And we could you could also target other menus in the interface eventually, right? I don't know if this is already supported, but it will be eventually, okay? So this is one of the ways that we saw. So this is very powerful, okay? But it has its drawbacks. I mean, it has to be supported in the portlet itself. So it's not something that you can just get for free, right? But it's very standard and it's has an API, so you can be quite confident that this is going to be working in several versions. So it's like a contract that we establish with you. And it's a very little contract, very specific contract, so we don't need to change it regularly. So let's see what are the drawbacks of the other approaches. Actually, I'm going just to, oh, sorry, to show you these extensible tag points, because the mechanism that we use to target these extension points and the extensible tag points is quite similar. Actually, you're going to register in one point in the page. The only difference is that with the view extension points, the developer of the original JSP is providing an exact point in the JSP for you. And with the extensible tag points, we are making potentially every tag in the page suitable for being addressed, right? So what is the first problem that we might find when we want to do something like this? Okay, the main problem that we find is how do we name tags in a page? I mean, how can we address them, right? The first thing that you need to do is to be able to say, suppose that you want to add a new field to the login form. You must be able to say, okay, I want to put this code before the end of the form, right? So we are leveraging OSGI for this. There's a new interface, or there eventually will be a new interface. Something like this, that you can register, right? So once you register, you are going to be given this registry here, which you can use to register for a class name, tag key, and item key. So this is the extension, but we need to provide this tag key. So this is the core. So now we have another interface that we can use that is going to be a tag key resolver, which is an interface that's going to give keys for the tags. So say that I want to enable form tags to be accessible like this. So I would register a tag key resolver for form tag, and I can deliver a key for every tag. Okay? So I can choose if I want to name the tag after the portlet it's in. I can choose to name the tag in the JSP that it's coming. Maybe I can choose to use the group ID as well, or the company ID as well. So I can target only specific tags that are in a site with an extension. And I can make another extension that targets only the tags that are in another site or in one portlet, but not other portlets and all that stuff. Okay, so it's very powerful, but it comes with drawbacks that it's fragile, but still it's less fragile than JSP hooks, right? So we have this form tag view extension enable here, right? It's actually doing that for form tag. And we are providing a way to register these extensions in the form of a JSP. So now you can just say, okay, I have a OG bundle with JSPs that are named in a specific way, which are going to extend a point, right? We can see it. It's very simple. I think I have it here. Yep. So this is here. So here you can see that we have a view extension folder, and we are targeting form tag. Okay, the tag is going to be the portlet key with the name of the tag, which is going to be the form, the login form tag. And I'm going to insert this JSP before the start of the tag, right? So this This JSP is very simple, actually. It's just a hello extension string, right? So it's not very complicated. So since we have this already installed and it's already activated here, we should be able to see it. Okay, so let's go back to portal and sign out. So here it is. Okay. Right. So it's easy to, I'm going to try to do something wild, like I will extend also I will try to extend where am I? Okay, so I'm trying to also extend the after endpoint, right? So after end. So yeah. Okay, so now hopefully, okay, there it is. Now we have the same extension before and after the tag. And it's the only tag that's getting affected by this. The rest of the forms are not being affected. This is the only one that's targeted with this extension. So we can put as many JSPs there as we want, and we can provide a cohesive extension for different parts of the views. So if you stop this bundle, then the extension goes away. So it doesn't exist anymore. Yes. Okay, so that's pretty much it. If you have any, if you have any questions or something, yeah. Yeah, in this example, yeah. So this is not set in stone yet, right? So this is for kind of demoing purposes. But yeah, it would be kind of handy to have that. Actually, the component that's giving you that functionality is this view extender. So this view extender, what's actually doing is that you don't need to implement any interface. This is implementing the interface automatically for you when you plug in a component with a JSPs in a specific way. But you could provide your own. I mean, this is something that we may bundle up so you can use it. Yeah. Yeah.
Can we apply many extensions to the same GSP page?
Yeah.
Okay, without no conflict, it doesn't create conflicts? No?
No, you can register actually many extensions in the same point, and they
Okay.
are going to be properly iterated from in to out and that stuff. You can
Okay.
actually set priorities to the extension. If you want one extension to be rendered before or more outer
Okay.
than other, you can set a service ranking in the extension, so it will be rendered first or last.
Okay. And it will be available for Liferay 6.2 as a service pack or something like this?
I can tell that. I don't know.
Okay. Thank you.
Maybe, yeah. Sure.
Is there a performance impact of the extension, and is it proportional to the number of extension you add?
Yeah, I mean, it's proportional to the number of extensions because they need to be rendered. So you're rendering more stuff into the page. So the answer is yes. In the case that you are putting a lot of extensions, they are JSPs that are going to be called. So there's actually a render going on there. If you don't put any extensions at all, the only performance penalty that we are having is that we are doing a lookup in a hash map. That's all. So if the tag doesn't have any extension registered for it, it will only do a lookup in a hash map, and if there's nothing there, it will simply go the same way. Yeah, yeah, over there.
Can you make them conditional? These multiple extension points, or conditional to a site or to an instance? Can you make them conditional? The extensions.
what do you
If you
mean?
have multiple extensions on one tag, for example, and then you have priorities, can you also make them conditional to a certain site or to a certain?
To certain site?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you can do it in two ways, right? I mean, in the if you have a look at the extension itself, whenever you are going to be included somewhere, you are given the request and response. So you can actually do whatever you want there. You can check for any I can see where you are. Oh yeah, sorry. So you can actually do whatever checks you want. So actually you are also given the tag class name that you are being rendered in, the tag key, and the point in the tag that you are being rendered. So you can choose whether you want to render anything or not. So in the current example with the JSPs, the answer is no, because the extender that I provided as an example doesn't have such power in its configuration. So the answer would be no. But if you provide your own extension, yeah, it would be easy to do. On the other hand, you could also use the resolver for the tag, and you could put names for the tags that include the site, the group ID, for instance. So if you do that, then you can target them specifically. So you don't need to put conditions here. But it's up to you to find the best solution for your case. So you can do that in two different ways. Any more? Yeah.
As far as I understood, this changes the initial HTML in the backend. It does not. It's not done by DOM manipulation, for example.
No. It's actually, so far in this example, it's doing an include in the points that are available in the tag. So potentially each tag could have different points. Okay. So I mean, in some cases you could have a special tag, and it's not implemented right now. So we can only include, but it's on the wish list, the ability to replace, for instance, a tag. So you can say, if this tag is enabled to be replaced by an extension, you can say, instead of the original content, just replace it with this. And one of the benefits of this is that you can actually use the services that are available in the portal, and even the services that you are using in your own bundles, because this is in OSGI, so everything is working